Hello and welcome to another episode of Driven by Doing. Today we have Nico De Bruyn with us. Nico, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So Nico is an entrepreneur and he just launched his new book, We Are All Marketers. Today we are going to learn about Nico's background, how he became an entrepreneur, and what advice he wants to give to other budding entrepreneurs from around the world. So Nico, let's begin the story. So it all started in South Africa. So let's start from there and kind of walk us through how you became what you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I think you and I both shared in our first conversation, which was we were both immigrants. So originally, I was born in South Africa. When I was 12 years old, my parents made the huge move from South Africa to Phoenix, actually Houston, and then Phoenix. But honestly, it was there where I started getting this little urge, right? In South Africa, I was very, unaware of the world of business. We never talked about it, but when we came to the States, I was with a lot of immigrants, and they started selling things. That's when I first got introduced to, people like the Girl Scouts, and they would go door to door sell boxes of cookies. And I was like, wow, maybe in America you can make money. This is interesting, right? First time, like 12 years old. And that's when I started doing some side hustles. Some of them I'm very proud of. Some of them I'm not. But it's part of the learning process. Then we moved to Phoenix, where I was committed to going to medicine because I looked at all the immigrants around me and I said, what makes them so wealthy and successful? And they all were doctors. So I said, well, if I want to make money and help people, I guess I gotta go this doctor route. So I put my business mind away, went and did 2 years of nutrition, and with a focus on then going to med school and becoming a doctor. But about 2 years in of my 4 year degree, I noticed this inkling. I looked at everyone in my class and I said they were all so much more passionate about what they were learning than me. I didn't really care about medicine. What I cared about was the hospitals and then how the co-payers work and insurance. And I was like, okay, that's more business-y. So let me ask people. And all I did was when I went on Instagram and started direct messaging CEOs. So if you had a title and in 2017 that had CEO in it, you probably got a message from me saying, "Hey, what do you do? How can I help you?" And every single person that took me up on the offer would give me something in marketing, whether it was a do this market research or help me with my Instagram. And I started building up this rapport and saw a need in the marketplace where people didn't really understand digital media, but they knew it was important. And 4 years later, been doing it every single day since 2017. I love it. And my goal is to help everyone understand that the internet enables you to do what you love every single day.
That's amazing, Nico. So you initially came up with this like a lot of ideas as a kid, and then kind of went to school to become a doctor. And we see that common across the board, like especially with immigrant parents, wants to see their kids as either engineers or doctors. And and then you moved on to your bachelor's degree at Arizona State, and then kind of started learning. Hey, this might not be the right fit for me. And I think it's very interesting how you kind of messaged or DM'd like all the CEOs. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, like that's their hustle, right? They wanted to learn something that they are passionate about. And you mentioned
Mhm.
about, hey, that I'm not passionate about doing this. I thought I would do good, but you learn very quickly to pivot, which is very crucial for entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And you learned also that hey, there is an opportunity, and now you kind of saw the opportunity in marketing. But how did you develop your passion for marketing? Because again, is this something that you really love, or is it just that hey, I just want to try it out and see it? So walk us
Yeah.
through that journey, what you learned, and how did you find your passion in marketing?
Yeah, and it's very interesting because up until that point, I didn't know that you could make money outside of healthcare, right? I dabbled in things, but I could never make a career out of it. And when I would go to these CEOs, they would give me tasks, market research, helping with my Instagram. I didn't know what I was doing. And went to my counselor and said, "Hey, I might want to take this like a class or switch my degree. What do you think?" And she said, "Bad idea. You're going to have to be in college for like 4 more years. I would have to start all over again." And again, the immigrant in me was like, that's not, I don't see the equation. Spend more money to go back. Let me just see if I can do it myself. So I spent hours and hours and hours listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and really it was fun because it was a challenge. That's what first got me into marketing. I saw it as, okay, what is marketing? It's really just communication. I love talking. I love talking with new people. So marketing is just taking a concept and communicating it to a specific group of people or people at large. And the problem with the people I was interacting with in healthcare, and that's where I started, right? I started with CEOs in healthcare and then went into technology. They loved what they did so much that they would go into the finer details. They go into this is blockchain and then this technical stuff. And I could never understand why people didn't get it. I'm like, oh, they just love what they do. But when I really broke it down, I was like, they are going into the features and not selling you in the solution. So where that finally clicked for me was if I can just tell people and help them tell other people about their solution, that's awesome. Like we should do that. And that's really where the click happened for me. I said, if if I can help someone figure this out, this will change their life, their business, their community. And that's what got me into the marketing fray and eventually led me up to the point where I said, this is what I love to do. This is like, I love people. I love when someone's like, I have this awesome thing. It does blah, 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 blah. And I distill it down, help them share it with the right people. They start making revenue. And then I feel better because I help them make money. And now their audience benefits from the solution that that entrepreneur or business owner person had. So that's why I love it right now because that's what I get to do every day.
That's awesome, Nico. How you found out how what your real passion is, and it's very interesting how you, even while during college, instead of starting again like a new degree in marketing, just to learn about marketing, you taught yourself like all
Hmm.
these things that you're doing right now. And it's also very interesting during those days you took up a lot of opportunities
Hmm.
within college, like doing internships, doing market research. Tell us like how did you got those opportunities with your background and like healthcare and dietitian, and like how did you approach people? Because that's one thing that I constantly see, especially with students. I think communicating what they really want, I think sometimes it's very difficult because they sometimes think that, hey, like I will not get an opportunity just because I don't have the necessary experience.
Yep. Yep.
Share those stories. Like, how did you go about those things and how did you reach these people where you know that they might be an opportunity for you?
Yeah, it was purely because I looked at what I had available. And if my college was telling me the only way to do this is 4 more years, let me go talk to people who are now in the field and just see what they would recommend. And whether it was the CEO of a company or a marketing manager or whatever, I looked at them and said, okay, if I was in their position and someone came to me, they had zero skills, they didn't have a degree, they didn't blah, 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 but they had passion and they were willing to work for free, why wouldn't I just give them a shot? So in my mind, I said, what tools do I have available? Well, I have a Facebook and Instagram account. Okay, let's start with my Instagram. And we'll look up hashtag CEO, hashtag healthcare, hashtag whatever it was. And I would just send them a candid message. This is me. I'm a student. I know nothing about marketing. I want to help you. Then, send hundreds, and I would spend 30 minutes on the bus ride to class and then 30 minutes on the way back. And then at night, as I was falling asleep, I would do another 30 minutes and just did that every single day. I actually, if I were to do it now, I would track, oh, I sent out 30 messages using this template, 10% converted. Now I would be smart about it. But at that point, I just sent out messages and finally one would give me an opportunity. And I would say, I want to work for you for free 3 weeks. Every Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do that. Because I still had a job. I worked at Starbucks part time. So my school work went a little bit down. I still worked because I liked money. And then at night and the weekends, I would help them with their marketing. And eventually they would recommend me to someone and then another person. And then it became easier to get people. But at that point, it was still free work. So it's easy. So then I started saying, okay, what if I asked someone to pay me to help them. And that's when the whole Boundless Media started, because I said, if I now have a skill, because I worked for 10 companies for free doing all these random tasks, if I just told them exactly what I can do, why wouldn't they just pay me to just get it done?
That's great, Nico. Now, walk us through that next phase, like where how you created Boundless Media, and now how you're helping your clients with marketing and outreach so that you can help other entrepreneurs who are building great solutions around the world.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pivot, which is so important. I can't emphasize that one day you're going to have an idea, you're going to start a business, a platform. Hint, hint. We'll talk about that later. But you'll start something, and you're so dead set on it. But as soon as you get it out into the world, there's crickets, or there's a subset of the group that loves it more than anyone else. And you have to be attentive as a marketer and an entrepreneur and business owner to see these kind of signs from the universe and data that supports that. So we started Boundless Media as a content creation agency because people would ask me a lot about social media. So I learned how to do social media posts. So we did that. Great, great, great. COVID hit. And we went from 7, 8, 9 clients down to one. Like that within 2 weeks, because no one knew what COVID was. It was crazy. And we had to look internally and say, what were we actually solving for? Because the graphics and the content was good, but it wasn't like it wasn't the thing they were buying. What they were actually buying, and the problem we're actually solving for, is distribution to the right people. So I looked at, how can I help businesses now through content and something else get their message to the right person at scale. So when I kept researching and looking at like what we do, we were doing email and LinkedIn messages, because I am a huge fan of content. I have a good platform. People would just message me and say, "Hey, we want to learn more." And we leverage that content. We call that passive marketing, when people just come to you because of your brand, your content, your message. This podcast is a great example. People will watch it and know about you and I and reach out. That's passive. But if we can combine that with actively seeking out that right person, business, or organization, and team those up together, you have a winning formula, because people still passively come to you because of your content and messaging, but you're also reaching out to people, which increases the odds that someone has a problem that you can solve. So Boundless Media today helps technical businesses and marketing agencies reach their prospective clients where they are, email or LinkedIn, communicate and educate them, provide value, and then if the timing is right, start a conversation that could lead to a partnership, a agreement, or a sale. So that's what we do.
That's great. How you found out all those great ideas just on the go, isn't it, Nico?
So I'll say this, because I'm painting like this awesome picture. This is the seventh idea we've had. We always joke internally, this is Boundless 7.0, because there's been at one point we were an education company selling marketing education. That didn't go anywhere. So it's not like it just happened. It was many, many iterations. So anyone who's listening that's like, oh, he got on the first try. Nope. No, I didn't. Like, it's 7 iterations to do it. But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No problem. So thanks for sharing that, because yeah, it might sound like yes, you tried it out and then everything worked out perfectly. But as you mentioned, 7.0 version is what you're right now working on, which is actually like 7 different versions of how you got started. So just learning from your experience, and now you're helping like a lot of clients, and then you just launched your own book. Tell us a little bit more about We Are All Marketers. Yes, the title seems very accurate, because everybody has to sell, whether you're a professional, a marketer, or a CEO. I think that's one common trend, and not everybody is a great salesperson. But like, how can people learn from your book, and like, how did you even come up with this idea? Walk us through that journey.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of education. Though I was talking about, one thing that I can see in both of our screens, and for listeners, we both have bookcases back here. Especially books are the best education that I've ever had. Besides podcasts, it's a way to digest very complex ideas very easily. And back in 2018, I had 6 months to go before graduation, and I looked at how would I get a job? At that point, I needed a job, and I asked around, and people said, "Well, you should talk to this one professor at Georgetown, and he just started this program to help young entrepreneurs in college write books." And I had a discussion with him. I said, "Listen, I don't want to pay for 4 more years of college. What would you recommend?" He's like, "What if you just went to successful marketers, asked them what they did to be successful, and just do what they did? Then you don't have to go to school. You can learn really quickly and you can get into the marketplace soon." Because the one thing about marketing and business is it changes very quickly. It's not like physics where there are layers that you go through that never change. And I say that with a little apostrophe because it does change, but not as rapidly as marketing. Tumblr marketing could work very good until TikTok comes around. And then TikTok's way better. And you have to be as a marketer ready for that change. But I didn't know the principles. I didn't know what actually made a successful marketer. So I would go to these 20 individuals. Some of them I interviewed, some of them I researched. And I said, "Tell me one thing that made you successful. And then tell me stories. Give me checklists." Because that's how I learn. I learn by stories and checklists. Like what can I you told me this is important. You told me, for instance, there's a chapter in my book called a content series. You told me a content series is very important. But how can I go about developing one? And then they would say boom, 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 boom. So I would just go do it. And it took me 9 months right before graduation. It came out, and you leveraged that to get a job. But honestly, it was the best investment I have. It was probably half of my savings at that time, where I had to say, "Are you going to take that leap?" And there's been multiple times in my career where I had to say, "Do I stay or do I go? Do I invest or do I not?" And that little voice in me was like, "Listen, number one, this is great for you. It's the hardest project you've ever undertaken. And two, you are only creating something of value." Again, it's the best. I'm taking everything that I've done over the last 2.5 years, all the hundreds and hundreds of hours of working for someone for free to learn marketing, and digested it into a 300-page book.
That's just awesome, Nico. Like how you came up with this idea to talk to expert marketers. And we think sometimes, like, it's very hard to write books at very early on when we are just starting to learn. And I think your idea of like just talking to expert marketers and just asking them one insight that made them really great marketers and just putting everything together to help other people who are getting into marketing, which is very unique. And my next question to you is, what would you tell somebody who is just starting to learn about marketing or who is listening to this, who wanted to try out if marketing is the right fit for them? What would you tell them?
Honestly, it's to get your hands dirty as soon as possible. Whether you are in biotech or software or pharmaceuticals or working in logistics, at one point that company is going to have a question about marketing, branding, sales. So knowing that there's always going to be a demand, you have to then come to the conclusion of, do I actually want to spend the time to learn it? You can read all the books and you can learn all the take all the courses, but unless you start doing it and getting your hands dirty and failing, you're never going to get to where I know you can get. So if you really want to be a marketer, go to an agency owner and that works with a specific clientele. Like, let's say you love esports. We have a client that sells in the esports space. If you love esports, go and ask them if you can create some graphics for them. Two things will happen. One, you get to spend quality time with this high net worth individual. And two, you get exposure to an industry that you absolutely love. So, regardless of what's going to happen, you're going to make connections, even if you don't make money. You're going to learn skills, and you're going to be able to gain confidence in the skills that might just be starting in there. Because that's what holds so many people back. The nice thing about working for free for someone, the bars are very low. So, if you do anything, it's probably better than what they were doing at that point, right? Even if you're a paid marketer, if you can create great content or help them understand TikTok or whatever that is, you're helping them providing value. And I always believe if you provide value, people are always watching. I have individuals who come to me and say, "Hey, I want to learn how to sell," and I give them a task and it doesn't happen. Should I spend more time with that person versus someone who said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I saw this. It reminded me of you. I think this could be helpful." Great. Let's talk because you gave me something. Why shouldn't I give you something? So that's my biggest thing is like get your hands dirty, get marketing for someone, learn the skills, and then if you don't love it, the one thing we didn't talk about is there's a reason I am not doing law or logistics or bartending or whatever. I've tried so many things to where I could look back and say, even though I didn't like it, it was a lesson for me in the future.
Again, that's a great insight right there, Nico. I mean, just getting your hands dirty to learn. And you also mentioned about learning by just doing it for free.
Hmm.
And a lot of early adopters or like people who are just getting into a new field might be thinking, hey, like, why would I want to work for free if there could be an internship or things like that? But I think from your story, it is very evident that just grabbing that first opportunity, and you also shared something that helped me to understand by just approaching them and asking if there is any work. And you also mentioned that you're just getting started to learn. And people might be curious why you are approaching them even if you don't have an experience, but you're sharing that you wanted to learn something that you are not familiar with. At the same time, you're working with them for free so that you could apply to whatever the problems that they are trying to solve for themselves.
Hmm.
So it's just amazing, like, the whole story and how you started learning about marketing and how you pivoted. And now coming to your expertise on LinkedIn, because that's one platform that you leverage a lot, especially for your clients with your content. What are the tips that you tell people every time who are new to LinkedIn or how to grow their reach to a lot of audience?
Yeah, it's actually the opposite of what you just said. It's to not focus on growing a big audience. It's to forge deep connections with people, even though it's very sexy to want thousands and thousands of followers. In the early days, I still here's the thing. I say early days, but I still do it. Every single person that sends me a connection request, I message. I mean, that's how you and I connected, right? I still go to my community and comment on their things and like and engage because I don't actually care about the platform. I care about the people. I have hundreds and hundreds of really or friends and tens of people who are now my best friends from this platform because I don't want to be transactional. I want to grow with these individuals. I want to give them value. I post 4 or 5 times every single day where I share marketing tips, insights, what I'm feeling about things, my theories, because I only care about adding value. Because what happens is when people see value, they get to know you, one. They two get to learn about you and what you care about. And three, life is very, very short. And they're going to encounter someone that might have the exact same problem that I solve for, i.e., not having enough business, not having good content, all that. Uh, and who are they going to remember? Hopefully, the guy that's been giving them free advice every single day. So that's my thing is like focus on one person, just one conversation every day. It doesn't have to be thousands. It doesn't have to be deep. You could say, "Hey, David, I loved your post about XYZ. I found this tip really insightful." And you can say, "Great. Hey, that's thank you so much." And you can say, um, "I would, if you ever need help with XYZ, let me know. Also, is it okay if I share that post, or can I tag someone in there, or can I do something? Can I just have a, like, what's it going to take for me to be in a, have a relationship with you? So it doesn't have to be a lot of work. Take 5 minutes and just get one person, because I've been creating content every single day since October of 2018, every single day. And I focus on one person because they would come back and then like and comment on my posts. And then other awesome people would see that and they would do the same thing. And then this whole cascading effect happens. And look at us. Like, we've never met before. You're halfway across the country. I'm in Phoenix. You're in Tennessee. So why should why should we be chatting? Because we both value these relationships and want to continue to grow together. So even when LinkedIn goes away, this is still there.
Wow. So just being very intentional about building those relationships is super critical, Nico, as you mentioned. And we might come across folks who might not work together done right and there, but
Mhm.
creating that content and engaging them throughout that journey of building that relationship is super critical. And
Absolutely.
my next question for you is, like, you have done and worked with like a lot of different clients. What are some of the insights as you work with new clients that you got, oh, that's an aha moment, like I haven't realized it, but you might got so many insight. So what would you tell, just based upon your experience for the past 2 years, how is it working with new clients, or what did you learn from them?
What I love working with clients is the fact that I get to learn something new every single day. Whether my biotech clients, my SaaS, my e-commerce, my PPC, my whatever client, I get to learn something new about them every single day, and they're experts. So if I have a question about something, I can now go to them. So I think my biggest revelation is you're never going to stop learning, whether it's from right now I'm watching a lot of content around how to enhance my sales technique that I'm going to help train my internal team about. I'm learning, digesting, understanding, and then helping them. So that's the biggest thing. You're going to learn from the industry, from your clients, and through yourself. So be okay with reaching out to one person every day, every single day, and learning something new, even if it doesn't produce a direct ROI right now.
That's a great insight again. Thanks for sharing those great insights, Nico. It has been just great experience just learning about your story and how you pivoted throughout your entire journey to get to where you are today. And are there any final words that you would like to share with our audience today?
Honestly, the biggest advice or anything that I would like to share is the fact that it's not going to be easy, and that's okay. As soon as you can, find someone that's 2 steps ahead of you and 2 steps behind. 2 steps in front will enable you to see where you're going and learn techniques and skills that you either would take a long time to learn or never know that you should learn. And by helping someone 2 steps behind you, you're able to see, one, your progression, and two, be able to articulate value to them. Because if you are able to do that, you understand that concept really well. So find someone that's 2 steps ahead of you, 2 steps behind. Don't be a leech, but like, see if you can add value, but definitely learn from that person and then teach to another person. I'm telling you, that's something that I heard early on, and I was like, oh, why should anyone listen to me? I don't know anything. But forcing myself to be helpful and take a hard concept that took me forever to learn and simplify it to someone else has made me a better person and helped a lot of people along the way.
What a great advice to end our talk today. And where can people find you and reach out to you if they would like to connect with you?
Yeah, send me an email, nico@getboundlessmedia.com. Just in the subject line, put pod. Any questions, ideas, thoughts, value that I can share, please let me know. LinkedIn, Nico De Bruyn. Instagram, Facebook, Nico De Bruyn. We'll add it to the show notes. But the biggest thing is for both of us, though, right? It's not just me. We have an awesome host, so why not talk to both of us? But really commit. If you, whether it's marketing, business, sales, whatever that is, just make sure that you're investing time into yourself and to the thing that you want. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. Please reach out to us. And yeah, turn back to you.
Thank you so much, Nico, once again. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know about your story and how you got to where you are today. And you are truly one of those folks who are truly driven by doing. And thanks again. I'm going to add all those links to the show notes so that people can reach out to you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.